I tried to tell him.
Somebody points at me, I just go on.
No, I was just
I'm
saying
like that
Facebook
once.
I
Live.
tried to tell him. What are you gonna do?
I'm watching already, Steve.
All right. Thank you.
I'm
My
under
bad,
control.
Facebook. Excuse me, George.
No, it's cool. Let me get it all dialed in now. The actual stuff that we really need to happen here.
Our live broadcast.
Radio.
Oh, that's-
Alice is always live for you on people on Facebook. She's always live, so
Yeah, sure.
she's
And
ready
he's
to go.
not.
She's ready to go like that horse
What does
race that we
What
had.
does that make you? If I'm
Hey,
always
that didn't mean
I'm
you guys
dead.
could just talk at will.
Caesar says hello.
Listen, we're getting ready to actually start the show.
The real
So-
show.
Yes,
What is show?
Are you guys okay with all that?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
Her thumbs up.
Are
my
you
thumbs up.
positive?
Yep.
Okay.
We're ready to
'cause
rock and roll.
I'm gonna be recording now. So
Okay, so we're not recording.
whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. Stand by.
Stand by.
I will give you the cue when it's time to start talking. Stand by.
We are ready to get our guac on. Hey, it's time for the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Latta here with,
Jorge Alacran.
he's Don Jorge, he's the Green Scorpion man, and today he is on meds. Are you going to be okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like a sloth, really slow.
Rocking and rocking, walking and rocking. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
We have an
I can dig it.
excellent show. I don't want to forget, though, right off the bat, we were scheduled to have our good friend Lori Klein on today, but she had to cancel. She had to take care of something at the last minute. But we will have her rescheduled, so we apologize for that. We didn't know until earlier this afternoon, but we will have her back. She promised she would reschedule as soon as she can come back one of these Saturdays. But not to worry, chipsters. Bienvenidos to the Molcajete. Today is March 31st, and this is Easter weekend. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter. Ready for, what do you do for Easter?
Oh, I have all kinds of stuff, and I put tarps up in the backyard. I have I'm running lights and.
Isn't that Christmas?
No, no, but
Because
we're,
all
I
this
do
confused?
this, well, no, I do this before the 4th of July, so we start this weekend, and I have tarps put up, and it's a big process I go
Wow.
through, because when I have, the 4th of July is a big family thing, so.
So
yeah,
you're already getting ready for the 4th of July in March.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, takes
Wow.
a while.
Do you have an Easter egg hunt too?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to do that tomorrow. We're gonna color Easter eggs tonight, and I don't, but the girls do, and I get to partake in eating of the Easter eggs when they find them.
Very nice, very nice. We're going to bring in a couple of guests here in just a little bit. One of our first guests is Caroline Lynch. And Caroline is actually from my women's club. And you belong there too. You're a quack.
I'm a quack.
Central Club for Women of Phoenix. And she is the owner of Copper Hill Strategies and former chief counsel of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security, and Investigations. And we're going to talk about, guess what? Facebook. It's going to be really
It's a
cool.
plate full there.
Woo, yeah. And then also in the next segment too, we have another guest, and that's going to be, I'm going to mess up his name, Jacek. Did I get that right? Jacek. But no. And he is with Project Arizona, and this is a really cool deal he's going to tell us about. He's actually from Poland, and he brings other people from Poland. It's a leadership organization, conservative one. You will not want to miss our show. It's going to be hot and hopping for Easter. But before we get started, we want to give credit where credit's due. Our wonderful director, owner, creator of Center Right Radio, Brandon Jones. Yeah, Brandon. Yeah. And then also behind the camera there, our technical director, Steve Palmer. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. And our producer, who offsite takes care of us with cocotazos that we'll have later and whole enchilada, and that's Secret Singer. And our music is done by my nephew David Beasley, and the logo is Monica Lara. If you need any artwork, go to Monica Lara Art, please, and buy something from her because, you know, she can use the money, right? Thanks.
Cumpleaños?
Do we have any cumpleaños?
My cousin's birthday is today.
Oh,
From Virginia. He's in the little business selling crabs out there, a little crab business, and they're doing very good. And
Where is
my
this again?
cousin, West Virginia.
in West Virginia?
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday! And
Margie's Crabs out there. It's that's what it's called, and Spanish foods, and actually they get the crabs right from the ocean there. and,
fresh.
you know,
What's your cousin's name?
fresh.
Come on, George, you can
Juan.
do it. Juan?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday, Juan.
Yeah.
That's great. See, I don't think I have it. I will mention though, yesterday, if my mom and dad were still alive, they would have had 77 years being married. It was 1941. Woo! Yeah. So, you know, I think that's worth mentioning too. So let's see, what else? Today also, we need to announce that if you would like to win some tickets to Laugh for Hope, please go on Facebook. That's Chips, letter N Salsa Show, and let us know. Steve's going to kind of keep track of that. Just throw your name down there. We're going to put your name into a hat. We have 2 tickets. That's $25 a ticket. Laugh for Hope is on April 13th at 7 p.m. And it's the big fundraiser benefit with 3 clean comedians for Life Choices Women's Clinic. And they take care of pregnant mamas to
I like Carlos.
Must be local.
Oscar.
Carlos Oscar is one of
They have to
them.
be local.
Kirsten Weber, Claiborne Cox have to be local. Well, unless you want to drive in from out of town. You
Yeah.
know, maybe you're listening and you're in Flagstaff.
Hey,
you wanna come down.
$25 tickets.
Yeah, people
They're
from
worth
Texas.
it, you know.
Yeah, come down. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can't fly in. Yeah, fly in.
Yeah.
Put your
Yes.
name in, and then we're gonna take the names out of a hat. So just put your names in. We'll put all the names in, and we'll let one of our
Yes, Steve's going to
At the
handle that
entry.
for us. Keep track of it. That's going to be April 13th at 7 p.m. at the Dream City Church building, and that's 13613 north of Cave Creek in Phoenix, Arizona. It's kind of up a little bit north in Phoenix. And if you don't get the tickets, I still encourage you to buy a ticket because this is a great, great cause. And we'll tell you a little bit more about it. In fact, we have a little commercial that's running too for it, so you might be able to listen to that as well. Okay, let's see. What other business do we have to take care of, George, before we play the Prather Point? Anything else? Announcements or anything?
nope.
Okay.
Oh, I know on the west side they're getting out the vote for Debbie Lesko. She's running for the House of Representatives, not the Senate. The House of Representatives. I made an error today. I said she's running for Senate. We hope, but anyway, she's running for the House of Representatives under for Trent Frank's seat. So we just want all conservatives to go out and help out, even if you don't live in the district. Help out and make phone calls and knock on doors and get out the vote.
And that's, I always like to remind people too, you know, a lot of, oh, you know, what do I care? That's not my district or whatever. But actually, your Congress people that get in there represent everyone. They represent you, especially here in Arizona. And if we can help get another good conservative in there, you know, we want to encourage you. So you're absolutely right, George. Let's see, I think maybe let's go ahead and let's play our Prather Point. Get that done. And Jeff Prather is fast. He was a fast and furious whistleblower. He's featured here every week. He gives us his couple of minutes on the latest on what's going on. He still has connections there, you know, in the deep state, we like to call it. The dark state, sometimes we call it. But he always has kind of his finger on the pulse. So without further ado, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to Caroline Lynch. Let's go to the Prather Point with Jeff Prather.
Our secret agent.
Sorry, Facebook. You can go to Center Right Live and listen to it there. We thought we had the solution resolved, but we're still having technical issues of getting it transmitting through Facebook as well.
colleagues. Second, analysis of the stroke detectors indicate that the White House, the CIA, and the FBI were all to spy on and destroy.
Yeah, you can hear the Prather Point on the website now live at centerright.live. If you go to the Listen Live tab and play the player there, that's playing now. And you can also catch it on the replay on the Chips and Salsa Show page on centerright.live on the SoundCloud underneath their logo.
But those are the three sad, tragic
That's not true.
information points for this week. I still hope to have Passover, Friday, and Easter. And also, I have a Prather pizza to eat with me coming up in 2 seconds. Call 502-441-7690 or email me from warriorschool.com and let me know if you're interested in that. 6 more to sign up. Decide where I'm going to do it yet, but it's a lot of fun for video clips. And
10 seconds.
so let me know about that. 502-441-7690.
Man, sing it, George. Man who lives a life of danger. Come on, I don't know the words. Those are the only words I know.
I was singing it one day in
You
the
start
car
singing?
by myself.
Hey, that was a Prather Point with our good friend Jeff Prather. And yes, he is going to have a Prather and Pizza June 2nd. It might be in Phoenix. If it is, we're hoping that we can kind of coordinate it with the Chips and Salsa Show. So if you want to call about that, it's 520-241-7690, or you can email him info@warriorschool.com. And George is chomping at the bit, and I know why, but go ahead.
I just want to correct one thing. Money was put in for the wall, $1.5 billion. It's not a lot. It's not what he was asking for, but it's a start. And like President Trump, our president, said he started building the wall. They gave him money to start building the wall. And he has different avenues he can go to pull more money if he really wanted to get really, really serious. But I think he has a master plan, and he's mentioned that it's gonna come in September for more money. I think he doesn't want to touch the $700 billion for the military, but he can if it's declared a national. If the military if it's a national
Security.
And we have,
Security.
yeah, we have.
a national security problem.
So we'll be right back with more of that. Thanks for that information. But keep listening
I
to the
just wanted
Chips and
to
Salsa Show,
correct
and we'll be right back with Caroline Lynch to talk about Facebook and security. Don't go away, man. We got more to walk on with.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Nicely done, George.
But I wanted.
No, I
wanted
know
to
you. I know you
clarify
did. I want to give you
because-
time.
Because he did say there was no money, and that's
there
wrong.
actually
You
was
know.
some money.
It's all right. There's
It's
going to
not
be a
enough.
GoFundMe page
Yeah.
where Americans are just going to be like, we'll pay for it.
But we did that in Arizona. Remember, we raised something like $10 million.
I can start a no funding
For the,
page.
Where is that?
Minute
Start it
Man?
right
There's a
now.
lot of people
Where
that
is
are
Because
talking about doing it.
it's in a fund still that Juicy said they tried to use it, and then the Democrat said you can't use it. So it's
It's in
like
the
still,
land trust fund.
yeah, it's like sitting in some trust fund somewhere.
No, that's, yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
really
maybe
sure
Governor
what he
Juicy
said.
can tell us where it is.
Well, because there's some other Republicans that said the same thing, that no money was put out, but they're pissed off that he signed it, and I kind of have to back our president. I think he knows what he's doing, and if he wouldn't have signed it, well,
He would have been responsible for shutting down the government. Though.
the
I
shutting down
always
the government, and we probably wouldn't have gotten that much for the military. It would have.
Right.
He's a businessman. He saw the good points and the bad points, and I think he did it
Please.
knowing that we're going to come out on top. And
And
I
like we
believe- I
talked
believe
about
it.
this last week, There's always a strategy to what he's done. When that happened, I was really like, what, really? And he's so adamant about, I am not doing this again.
Mhm.
And I talked to someone who's following this closely too, because you keep hearing that there is going to be money. He will be able to allocate money for the things that he wants.
And
So
he could
I'm
stop,
keeping my fingers crossed that all of this is
and he could,
correct.
and he could stop Planned Parenthood, the money going to Planned Parenthood. He could delay that. He doesn't have to just nilly-willy just give them all that money that was allocated for them. He could actually, by what I understand, he could delay the money going to Planned Parenthood, and he could play with some of the money somehow. There's ways he can do it, because this wasn't.
But see, where it
It
trips
wasn't
me
written-
out is he's not Congress, so how does he have the power to do that?
Because Congress did not write,
Because it's an omnibus, is that why?
yeah, because it's an omni budget
Well,
where
it's
he can.
also because what Planned Parenthood gets is grant money, so we don't, Congress doesn't cut Planned Parenthood a
Right.
check.
Oh, I see.
It's
So
a
No.
grant that's
actually a grant.
administered. so-
Now, if the Congress would have,
1 minute.
if the Congress would have put that he must spend it on that, then it's different. Because then he has
Well,
to
they
go back
can't,
to
that would be an
Congress.
earmark.
That would have been earmarked, exactly.
That's good. See, it's good to have
Very good.
somebody who was in the DC world that can explain.
It's all right. They're going to declare a national security, and they're going to pay for it out of the military budget.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I like. It is a
Well,
national
no.
security issue.
he's got a plan.
Right on.
No, Mexico's going to
30
pay for it. For everybody who doesn't understand,
That's it.
See,
out there in Facebook
it's that
land.
race again.
Do any of you watch
You heard the race?
that show?
That's Warhorse Agency's
Disney?
But I
commercial.
want Google to
Did you
win.
watch that?
Google does win with Warhorse
Oh, is
Agency.
it the one where the?
Oh,
Together.
I haven't, I've never
10
seen it.
seconds. 5.
Stand by.
Platypus.
And we are back with the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara here with the Alacran.
The deplorable one, Hillary's deplorable,
Don Jorge,
Don Jorge.
Green Scorpion. Man who is doing the radio show with a toothache, and I'm so proud of him. Woohoo! Woohoo! Way to go. All right, we're going to get to our guest, Caroline Lynch. Thank you so much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Sure, happy to be here.
We're so happy that you're here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then you'll realize why we wanted to have her on to talk about all the stuff. It's been a bad week for Facebook. So let me tell you a little bit about Caroline. She is the founder and owner of Copper Hill Strategies. She has 15 years of Capitol Hill experience. I feel sorry for you, but
That
thank
sounds
you.
like a lot of fun.
Including a decade with the House Judiciary Committee, where she served for 8 years as the chief counsel of the Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security, and Investigations. Wow. As chief counsel, she was at the forefront of developing some of the most high-profile privacy, cybersecurity, national security, and criminal laws of the 21st century. Woo, we have a superstar here, George. She authored dozens of pieces of legislation, developed strategies to successfully shepherd those bills through Congress, utilizes her experience in public policy and the legislative process to provide client-focused government relations, strategic planning, and legislative development services. Prior to joining the Judiciary Committee, she served as chief counsel of the House Republican Policy Committee, deputy county attorney for the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, and clerk for the Arizona Court of Appeals. She previously served in the personal office of former Congressman John Shadegg from 1996 to 2000, my former congressman, one of my favorite congressmen in the whole world. And she is a member of the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, the Arizona Women Lawyers Association, the Arizona Technology Council, the ASU Center for Law, Science and Innovation Community Board, and the ASU Law Blockchain Group. And then, of course, she is a fellow member of Central Republican Women of Phoenix. And welcome, Caroline Lynch.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Thank you so
that's-
much.
That's
Great
a
to be here.
nice, sharp bio. Is there anything that we should know that's not on there?
Gosh, I'm a native of Phoenix. One of the few people who I think can actually say that I was born and raised here in Phoenix. And so even though I spent 15 years on Capitol Hill, I obviously have deep roots here in Arizona and my family's here. And I was excited to move home about 1.5 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
Oh, thrilled. You know, and the reason, for months ago, you and I sat at a table, we were talking like, man, Caroline, I've got to have you on the show because there's so much stuff we can
Right.
talk about it. So you were scheduled one time, that didn't work and things. So we're so happy to have you on here. And it's so, the timing is really impeccable
It
because
is.
of what's going on with Facebook. Oh my goodness, it was not a good week for Facebook. And so first of all, I have maybe just a dumb technical question.
Sure.
And anything you want to interject, please feel free to. But I have, oh, by the way, I'm phoneless today. I'm cellless. So if somebody's trying to text me, you can't because I forgot it. I can't believe I forgot it. But I have an Android phone. I think you have an Apple phone. And one of the things that struck me is it said that if you had an Android phone, that it was even worse for you because of the
Right.
the software. Is that true?
That's my understanding. The Android phones are built, I'm not a technology expert, I know just enough to be dangerous, but the Android phones are, for the most part, built on open source code developed by Google. And so I think one of the issues that was raised, that was reported earlier this week, is that Facebook was capturing the records of text messages and telephone calls, I believe, for Android users. And I think that's in part because Android code is different, and Android code is open and more accessible from other apps that are on a phone than if you were using an Apple iPhone device.
So not just the ones, the instant messages on your Facebook page, my actual text.
No, it was the text messages that were on the Android phone themselves, and the records of phone call.
And probably too, like I do the audio text as well too. So
But, you know,
Make contacts.
I think when you get these apps, you have to agree on certain things. All that stuff that comes on the on there, you put yes, I agree, yes, I agree. Nobody reads that because I mean it's so much to read, and you're agreeing to let them do whatever they want to do. So we're at fault because when we open apps, we don't read that, and we always agree because we want that app for free. We're getting it for free.
but would you ever think that's pretty private, that they would be listening on your particular, I mean, to me is that considered an
Right.
invasion of privacy, Caroline?
That's a great question. You know, privacy protections are different when you're talking about a private company versus what the government collects. That doesn't mean that a private company can just collect whatever information they want. There are laws in place that actually put limits on the kind of information that can be collected. And you're right that we technically agree in some instances, if not most instances, to have that information turned over or collected. The problem is that you know, people don't read the terms of service agreements. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I don't even read. They're lengthy. They use legalese, and hidden in that fine print was probably some language that said you agree to turn over information about you know, your contacts or your telephone calls. And so what does it mean, for instance, if you say that you agree to share contacts? Does that mean it's just the list of all of the people that you have in your address book on your phone, or is it how you interact with those contacts through the phone? And so I think what's going to happen is there's lawsuits that have already been filed. Congress is obviously starting investigations through a couple of different committees, but probably the most prominent investigation, I think, is the Federal Trade Commission, because Facebook was under a binding consent decree. That's legalese for they agreed with the FTC to not do certain things going back to 2011. And so what the FTC has done is they've reopened or opened a new investigation to look at whether Facebook was complying with that consent decree. And if they find that Facebook was in fault, violated that decree in any of the things that we've heard about in the last week, there are, I believe it's per day and per user fines that can be leveraged against Facebook, that based on how many users they have could be in the, not just the hundreds of millions, but it could be in the billions of dollars. Now, a lot of times companies end up negotiating settlements with federal regulators that are doing investigations. So I don't know that you'll actually see a per person or a per day fine levied against Facebook. But that's where we're going to find out a lot about exactly what Facebook was collecting and how specific the permission was that they obtained from their
I know
advisors.
the Democrats were able to get all kinds of data when Obama was president, and it was allowed by Facebook. And then when the Republicans started doing it recently, you know, to 50 million Facebook users, that's when Facebook started complaining. They started withholding the data. And so it's good for the Democrats to do it, but it's not good for Republicans to do it. And I think that's what the whole issue is about.
Well, I mean, that's typical mainstream media reporting, is that, you know, you're gonna view things differently depending on who's benefiting.
Are they
from
still
the-
collecting, do you think, conversations and things?
I think they've
Shut
actually
'em off.
significantly curtailed it, but just in the last week.
And how do we know for sure?
Right.
Can you stay another segment with us,
Sure.
Caroline?
Sure.
Okay. We gotta wrap this up, but we're gonna bring her right back. You see, we just got started. So keep listening to the Chips and Salsa Show here with Alice Nada and George Ortiz and special guest Caroline Lynch, security expert, I'll call her. Be back.
You guys are good.
Yeah, George, you need to talk. And
Yeah,
you're facing
your-
hers and it bouncing off of the other two mics and not
Your
into
audio
yours.
is not near as good as everybody's because when you're talking towards Alice. So if you're gonna do that, which actually is not good for the video either because then
Yeah,
people
'cause
can't
we're
see
like
you.
seeing the back of the head.
So what do I do?
Just talk straight in the mic.
Go like this and talk to us.
Yeah.
Face them.
Well,
Well, I like
well,
arguing.
Yeah, we
You
keep
can
seeing
just
the
talk
back of
like
his
this.
head.
Can you talk right to the mic,
Okay.
maybe?
Yeah.
I understand.
You can- you
I'm,
can
I'm
give us
seeing
a
what the
side
issue
glance.
is for you though, and it
Profile,
almost
please.
when we get into the other
Did you
space,
say your nephew
maybe
wrote
we'll
the-
do so you were sitting on the other side
Yeah.
because I think that might have been
David.
good for
Yeah.
you for your style.
That's your
Yes.
nephew?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yes,
he
it
was
was.
the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
band.
For our
Oh,
Facebook
fun.
listeners,
So he used to create music and he went-
this segment brought to you
Sponsored.
by One
Travel
Truth.
and play for the troops.
Wow.
And go to iTunes
So then he got
and
out
check them out.
and he has
For the
a
free,
business music degree.
You can
And then
listen to the video and watch the video and listen to the
Oh, you're
CDs. And they have Paradise, Rapture, Ocean of Dreams, and the best one, Inferno. So go to iTunes and check them out under One Truth with JC Gonzalez. And maybe you can download this whole CD.
And we're bringing the last guest in at
Yeah,
the 41.
Okay.
Raymond Lester.
That way we're
Caroline.
swapping now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need to scoot up. No, there you go.
So we'll keep Caroline for one more
Keep
segment.
scooting back. It's up to you.
I wonder, can we go maybe a few more minutes if we need to?
Have you got
Since we
any
started
names?
a minute late,
Stay a minute.
or skip a commercial or something.
Have they got any names?
Yeah, we
30
can,
seconds.
Oh, I don't know.
We
I
can
don't know, I don't have
we
my
can skip the 41 break.
Okay.
Well,
We got to do the swap out though.
yeah. I'll
We can
just
do a
do
quick
I'll do a shorter break.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep you one more.
10 seconds.
Not 10 seconds. 1 minute. 10 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Was that the second
It's a
one?
good commercial.
My bad.
You know, I had this produced a while ago, and I didn't even remember that I had it because I was going to use it for an animated video, and I was going to put the horses in there, like. But I was like, oh, that'll work for radio, actually. Pretty
It
good.
does. It works.
So, or I'll say yes.
Are you going to play our Laugh for Hope commercial too?
We got
I can do that.
12
That's a shorter window, right? Use that for a
Nice.
break.
What are they
or
saying?
one break.
Yeah, that works.
Can't hear
Then
anything.
Yep.
use it a short
Yep.
window. And also
Well,
give
that
us
was
enough time
probably
to
Yep.
swap out.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's going to be
Oh, I
quick. It's
forgot to say
37
Caesar's
seconds. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caesar
just-
Charles.
Make magic
Caesar
happen.
Cicero.
All right.
So Caroline, when we go to the next break, we'll have like 30 seconds to swap you guys out.
So say hi to
It's like
Guido.
Let me tell him.
Guido Gomez.
Yeah, that's my friend Guido.
Yeah, and then Reno,
All right, guys, we're coming back.
All right.
and then Caesar
Stand by.
Hey, welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show. We're having a fast and furious show here. I'm Alice Nada with George Ortiz. He is the Green Scorpion. Hey, before we get started back here, I just want to wish a belated happy birthday to my friend Cecilia Gomez. And Guido Gomez is her husband, and they're very good neighbors. Cece and I actually, we've been friends, we've been childhood friends. And they hail from Lordsburg, New Mexico. Shout out to Cece and Guido and the grandkids and everybody,
and
the
Caesar,
dogs.
and Caesar Cisneros.
Hi, Caesar. How you doing? You need to come hang out with us.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the show. He's already.
Good. Did you book him already? Good.
Nope. We're
All
just
right.
waiting for him to come into town.
Okay. And we have the privilege to have Caroline Lynch here with us. And she is the owner of Copper Hill Strategies. And I have this written down because I wanted this up. Former Chief Counsel of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security, and Investigations. She's a real deal, man, let me tell you. So we were just talking about Facebook and the privacy issue. So they had some other issues and everything. What do you see as their future, though? What do you think is going to happen, Caroline?
Well, I think ultimately Facebook will continue on and will continue to.
We're addicted, all of us.
Yeah, I don't think Facebook's going to go away anytime soon. The big question is whether the changes they've had to make on how they collect and sell user data is going to affect their bottom line, is going to affect their revenue. We obviously saw that their stock prices dropped significantly over the last 10 days or so. But ultimately, as you say, we can't quit Facebook that easily. And the fact is that it actually is a tremendously successful way to connect with people, not just where you live, but across the country, across the world. I mean, I'm connected with a bunch of people that I went to high school with that I probably would not otherwise really have a relationship with if it weren't for a platform like Facebook. And so, but I do think that this is a bit of a reckoning for companies like Facebook and Google. For so many years, a lot of attention has been focused on how the government collects information on Americans, and not that we shouldn't be concerned about that. That's obviously, it's important for Americans to keep tabs on what the government is doing with their information. But at the same time that focus was really aimed at the government, these companies were collecting significantly more information and profiting from it than the government agencies really can.
Making some good money. So what kind of tips do you have for us out there that we might be able to protect ourselves or just be a little wiser users maybe?
Well, I think, the first is familiarize yourself with the privacy settings, not just on your Facebook app, but also, maybe people will start actually reading the terms of use agreements and thinking twice.
Are you responsible, Caroline? Do you might be responsible?
Well, thinking twice maybe before you click on certain things. I mean, George is right. When you put a new app on your phone, a lot of times it's going to say that it's going to ask permission to track your location. Stop and think for a second. Does this app really need to know where I am in order to provide the service or let me use it the way it's intended to be used? And some, Google Maps is an app that needs to know where you are. But other apps probably don't really need to know your location. So the question is, why are they asking for that? They ask sometimes for permission to access your photos or your contacts. And again, a lot of times we click on those. So we're kind of guilty too, because we've agreed to turn over that information. And a big part of that is the convenience that comes with sharing that kind of information and having the apps be interoperable with each other. But it's also, these companies are kind of celebrities, right? And the technology is exciting. We like when the new technology comes out. We want to be the first in line to buy the new iPhone. We want to have all the latest gadgets and have all the greatest apps on our phone. And so, to a certain extent, we are kind of responsible for allowing these companies to become as popular and as profitable as they have come. So I would just say maybe think twice before you agree to permission from an app on your phone.
They had one that was like flashlight that allowed your phone to be like a flashlight.
Right.
So then it was noted that there was a Japanese or a Chinese company that brought out the app, and you gave them permission to actually go into your phone. And that's when I took that flashlight thing out of my phone, because there was a few of those that were like that. And the flashlight one is the one that I remember.
That's a good point too. It's not all apps are developed by companies here in the United States. The app platforms do a significant amount of vetting of the apps, and it depends on which platform you're using, the degree to which they'll vet an app before they allow it to be on the platform. But that doesn't mean that there aren't apps developed by Chinese companies that may or may not actually be
Yeah.
connected to the Chinese
How would we
government
know?
or, or other foreign adversaries. So again, it's important to be a bit diligent.
So you have such a great background. So being 15 years back there, do you think we're at a better point now or worse point as far as security for our country?
I think as far as security is concerned, that's hard because I served on the Hill both before and after 9/11. So I don't want to. It's hard to say
I
we're in a
asked that
better place.
question horribly.
Right? No, but it's hard to say that we're in a better place when we are still dealing with Al Qaeda and ISIS and other foreign terrorist organizations and the threat that they pose to the United States in a way that they didn't or that we weren't really aware of prior to 9/11. Having said that, I think that we have dedicated significant resources to really learning and keeping pace with how the threat changes. One of the biggest things that I learned in my tenure dealing with counterterrorism issues on the Hill is that the technology and the strategy that we had 20 years ago might have worked ideally for a foreign government adversary, but it doesn't. Those tools don't necessarily fit when you're talking about a foreign terror organization like Al Qaeda or ISIS that has no formal government, that has no structure to it, that can have pockets all over the world, from North Africa into the Middle East and beyond, and have people that are aligning with it in Europe and even in the United States. So one of the keys to maintaining our security is having agility to change as the threat changes. And I think that is certainly one area that I witnessed in my time on Capitol Hill that I think we're doing a really good job at, is trying to keep pace with how it's changing.
I
Does it
think
feel better?
like FISA. FISA is good. It was meant to be good, but it was taken and it was twisted to go spy on American citizens. And it's they have technology that's good and programs that are good. FISA was good when they initiated, but then it started morphing into something that they've taken advantage of. And we need FISA. That's why they voted it to refund it again.
Right.
But we need to put controls on things like FISA and other things.
So here's the interesting aspect about FISA. FISA is actually, was enacted back in 1978 in the height of the Cold War, back when the biggest threat to our national security was really the Soviet Union and other nation states. But FISA is designed specifically to target people inside the United States. So I think a lot of people think that when FISA is used to gather intelligence against an American, that's a signal of abuse, and it's not. It's actually, it provides the statutory structure, the framework for how to target people who are inside the United States, and that can include Americans. Now, that doesn't mean that there haven't been instances in which we need to do oversight and make sure that they're using the tools correctly. And certainly that was some of the blowback following the Snowden leaks. But that is one, I think, aspect of FISA that folks don't know much about.
You did a great job putting that all together.
Thank
I
you.
hate to say goodbye. Thank you
Oh,
so
no,
much for
this was
coming in,
fun.
Caroline Lynch. Please come back. We've
Absolutely.
got lots to talk about. And please stay tuned for more of the Chips and Salsa Show. We'll be right back with one more guest. Don't go away. Walk on. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I know you got so much to
We
talk
got 40
about.
seconds, guys. 40
So many
seconds.
subjects we can talk
40
about.
seconds.
40 seconds.
We're gonna probably be in a different studio, but we're planning
We're gonna go go where she's at.
same center right, but it'll be a different, bigger.
See you
Calm
Thursday.
down, calm down.
Very nice meeting you. Thank you.
We'll see you Thursday, my dear. Thanks again. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I'll send you the
Awesome,
link
awesome.
so you
Thank
can
so
listen.
much. Have a great day.
Yes, come on
Hi.
in. Hi there. Thank you for your patience. It goes so fast.
Oh, no. Dead air.
No, exactly, so don't.
Steve. Steve.
George, you want to tell?
Yeah, no,
We're gonna have much time. Remember, you can still win tickets.
We're back, guys.
For Left for Hope.
Take care.
Back on there. And we're back here with the Chips and Salsa Show. Now, thank you, Chipsters, for joining us every Saturday. This is Alice Lara, your host, here with George Ortiz. And we're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. to get our guac on. And just quickly, I wanted to mention that this Thursday, my Central Republican Women of Phoenix Club, we're going to have our monthly meeting. And we are having an Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction Forum. And we have 4 of them actually confirmed, George. The only one who couldn't make it is Bob Branch. We do have Tracy Livingston, Jonathan Delbart, and we also have Diane Douglas and Frank Riggs. So yours truly will be moderating. Are you going to be there, George?
Yes.
Right on, good. I'm so glad you're going to come. Also, I'd just like to announce my good buddy and also sometimes a fill-in of the show, Augie Bartney. He is running for Maricopa County Community College District number 5. He was appointed recently. He's decided to run. So if you'd like to help him out, just contact me through Facebook or what have you. And then one more reminder, we still are going to give tickets away. So if you're interested in getting tickets for Laugh for Hope, which is on April 13th, please let us know through Facebook. Steve Palmer's taking care of that. We're going to pull names out of a hat, and we'll let you know that you've won the ticket. Okay, I just want to make sure we made all the announcements we have to make. Am I missing any announcements, George?
Nope.
Let's talk to Yasik, and then maybe if we have time, we can do the cocotazos and the whole enchilada. How about that?
Yes.
Okay, we want to welcome to the Molcajete, to the Chips and Salsa Show, our new friend, Yasik. And spell your name for us. Jay?
My name is Jacek.
Yasik.
Hi, good afternoon. Wonderful to be here in your show.
Oh, thank you for coming in. And it's Yasik Spendel, right?
Yes,
Name right?
yes,
Great.
correct.
And I met you actually through Augie. Augie and I were having
Sure.
coffee, and Yasik Spendel, he happened to be coming in the same coffee shop, and we started talking. He said, you know, you might make an interesting guest. I'm going to tell you, he is Project Arizona's director. He's traveled to Phoenix several times since 2009, and he's here to tell us about Project Arizona. So just real quickly, because I know we don't have much time, give us a rundown of what this is, Yasik.
So, Project Arizona is an educational endeavor for students, international students. Currently, they come from Eastern Europe. In the future, we hope it'll be like truly international from entire world. They come here to Phoenix area to learn about ideas of freedom, to see and explore how Arizona's institutions guard freedom and advance free markets, individual responsibility, and all the things that support growth and liberty. So during this short period, 3 months, they actually take internships in various locations like law firms, think tanks, and other facilities. They take classes at Arizona State University. They learn American history. They volunteer for various organizations such as Americans for Prosperity, for example. And they network a lot. They meet a lot of important figures in Arizona's public life. People who are politicians, who are think tank leaders, who are in business, people who change this state. And most profoundly, we are very, very inspired by Arizona as an example to the world how freedom can be advanced. Because it is relatively one of the most free places in the world. And we want to actually show it around and teach how.
That's how you picked us,
Yeah,
right?
that's our entire idea to teach through example of Arizona and inspire young people so they can do influence their communities back home in far countries such as Poland or Ukraine and change them into freer places.
I think this is such a great idea because you have the concept of freedom, which I think if we could show every person in the world freedom, real freedom, then they would understand even how great America really is, and it would help them want that freedom and maybe change horrible things in their own country. So I applaud you for doing this and directing this. I'm sorry, George.
Thanks.
How long have you been here in the United States?
Right now, this is the 3rd month, but as it was mentioned, I visited the United States many times. This is like 7th visit.
So you live in Poland?
I live in Poland. I spent most of the year in Poland and in Arizona, usually around 4 months. So I'm
So-
sort of a snowbird, but
Yeah.
really hard-working snowbird, to be
So
honest.
were you there when Lex Słowencja, when the democratic movement all transpired over there in Poland? Where all
You mean the collapse of communism?
Yes.
I was very small.
Okay.
He's a
yeah.
whippersnapper.
I was born under communism, but it
Right.
was in mid 80s, so I don't remember really the collapse. But I remember very well early 90s and all these transformation years.
Right.
And you know what? Looking from perspective of years and perspective of other countries, I'm quite satisfied. I mean, we still have so much things to change in Poland. It's the scope of government is too big, and markets are not really free, and so on. Corruption and so on and so forth. But we were really lucky to be able to say goodbye to the Moscow sphere of influence,
Right.
because that time in Moscow there were weak leaders, and we actually joined the Western world. And with all the flaws, all the problems, we are on much better track right now than what communism served to people.
So when you get students to come out here, they're students that are in the college over there in Poland, and they're students. It's like an exchange of students, or how does that work?
Well, this is informal educational program, so we are not connected strictly to a certain university. So we do recruit young people between 20 and 30 years old. So mostly they are university students, but sometimes these are young professionals, people who finish studies but still looking for new inspirations, new guides in their lives. So it's not really an exchange program, and we look for students not only from Poland. Currently, we have students from Poland, Ukraine, and Croatia. Last year, we had also students from Georgia. Hopefully, next year, even more countries.
Where do they stay? Do they stay at the colleges, or?
No, we rent a house for them
Oh.
here in South Tempe, very close from this location.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I'm very lucky
We
with.
should have asked you to bring one of them with you, maybe the next time, the next round. if you
Hopefully,
can.
next year, maybe.
When you're
It'll be
here next
nice.
year, that'd be great.
They
Yeah,
are
Do some of
so,
them stay here?
yeah, they are really.
Male and female.
Both male and female, usually similar number. And they are so much amazed by America, by Arizona, by how people nice are, that people, talk to them on the bus station. People smile to them on the street.
Wow.
Simple things, and these things are different. And also the scope of freedom. I mean, the fact alone that you can go to Walmart and just buy a gun and defend your family, that's very different than what we experience in Europe. And they're quite amazed about this.
We could really learn from them because we take our freedoms for granted.
Do they come in with visas, student visas, or are they? Is it just like a temporary thing? Or
It's usually internship visas,
Well,
as they do internships in various locations,
oh, okay.
such as think tanks like Compact for America or other places. And they stay here a short time, around 3 months, because the entire idea is that they learn things, they get inspiration, and they further change their own communities. And we already have great examples of our students from last year.
That's great. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, a little bit. So we have a student, for example, two students, both from Poland, who are currently finishing a book about Arizona freedom fighters. There is like amazing network of people who really work hard to advance free markets, individual responsibility, and these ideas. And we see results. Even the governor is really freedom-oriented person. And it will be book published in Poland. Polish readers can read about how Arizona awesome is. And they not only do this, they joined free market think tanks. One of them just wrote a research paper about time change in Poland, that it is not smart to switch time twice a year, and it will be much better to do what Arizona does.
Very good.
And you know what? The political parties from the left to the right in Polish parliament, they sort of discovered this research paper written for independent think tank, and they all voted yes, let's do
Oh,
it.
wow.
We are
That's
not
great.
sure yet it will be implemented because European Union is not happy
Mm.
about this, but apparently Polish parliament said yes, great ideas.
I
And
love that.
yeah, I love that too.
That is great.
So how did this get started? Could you give a brief history?
The brief history. So I traveled here a number of times because my great friend and we worked together, Glenn Kripe of Language of Liberty Institute. He is from Phoenix, and I visited him various occasions, and I got really in love. I fell in love in Arizona. I also did an internship at Goldwater Institute, conservative libertarian think tank here in Phoenix, and I had an idea. I want to do something more. I want to expose people to Arizona's values and freedoms. And I was also inspired by the Fund for American Studies. I am an alumni of this organization. They do projects around the world, but a lot of projects in Washington, D.C. And it's also a combination of internships, education, volunteering. So I thought, let's meet all these best examples and do something in Arizona, which is truly hub for freedom. I don't see much freedom in DC, to be honest. There are swamps, right? And
Unfortunately, you're right.
and here in Phoenix is so dry climate that it's not good for swamps,
Very good.
right?
Very good.
So I thought this is good place to learn and expose people to freedom, and without good people who donate money and other also in-kinds things for us, we would not be able to do it because we don't take any public funds, neither in Europe nor in America. Like zero tax money because we believe in freedom. We don't want to be hypocrites.
So how do you advertise it over there in Poland?
I advertise this in Poland. I basically tell that I'm doing a project that can, in the future, change Poland as well. If they learn good things here, they can. And we hear about first things that are happening, and we're so glad about
This has been going on for a couple of years? Or?
It is second time when we did Project Arizona this year. We do one per year. So we just finished, 2 days ago. Students left. We are quite sad. But we are also living very soon. I have a lot of projects ongoing in Poland. I'm running a foundation in Poland, Freedom and Entrepreneurship Foundation. So next Project Arizona, number 3, 2019 will come again to this beautiful city of Phoenix in January 2019.
You try to make it non-political, right?
Non-political, no political parties affiliated. However, we are not ashamed that we believe in freedom and ideas that are dear to also conservative people of libertarian ideas. But we try not to use isms too much. Just good stuff on the right.
And that's the way you start a program like that, a foundation. Especially if you're going to be a foundation, you get donations.
Yes, everything is run on private donations, and we have most of our donors from this wonderful state of Arizona. These donations are usually small, medium, a couple $100, sometimes less. And I see people value what we do. We had recently fundraiser, twice more people showed up than last year. So if anybody wants to support what we do here, I encourage, it would be wonderful to have this larger family of friends and allies supporting, Arizona American values. And you can do it at projectarizona.us/donate.
ProjectArizona.us.
That's our website,
/
projectarizona.us.
Okay, great. Do we have time to do the cocoa vessels, do you think? We got 3 minutes? Wow. Okay, you know what? First, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Jacek, I think he gets the whole enchilada award. What do you think, George?
Yes.
This is a great organization, and you're promoting freedom worldwide. and you're doing it through Arizona. I think it's awesome. Please, when you come back next year, we'd like to have you back and bring one or two of your examples with you, and we'll do a show and we can talk about what they've done, because I didn't know about this, and just by accident we found out about it.
That would be a pleasure, definitely. And I would like to thank you for having me, for letting me to speak about our project, to spread the word. You have a great show and keep going.
Well, thank you. And let's see, we got what, 2 minutes? Okay, I'm gonna run down these cocotasos really quick, okay? Our cocotasos, if you don't know what they are, George, can you say it in 10 seconds what it is?
Cocotazo is when you get knocked about the head, on the back of your head when you say something stupid. So it's a wake up.
Like your mom used to do, you did something wrong, she knocks you on the head.
Yeah,
Okay,
just kind of wake you up. Say, hey, that's kind of stupid.
here are the
So-
nominations. The young boy holding us, and you could go to our Facebook site, Chips, Litter, and Salsa Show, and you can see these. We do them every week. Young boy holding a sign that says F the NRA. Just a little boy, and his mom's right there, so proud. Number 2, auction house lists giant naked statue of Trump and expects to bring in megabucks. That was pretty gross. Okay, number 3, Planned Parenthood. Disney, we need. It was Planned Parenthood saying Disney. This is Disney. We need a princess who has. Disney needs a princess who has had an abortion. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Number 4, Hofstra activists want to remove the statue of Thomas Jefferson. Number 5, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, your girlfriend. She wants background checks for ammunition buyers. Atlanta Charter School apologizes for blackface depiction during student program. We apologize for having to go through these so quick. Would you like to pick which one do you think was the worst? Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3
Yeah.
about Planned Parenthood, because they're saying no, Walt Disney needs a
Is this
princess who has
true,
had
Yvonne?
an abortion. Yeah, they tweeted and they said, oh, never mind, we really
Well,
didn't mean that.
Transgender.
Well, I think that doesn't serve their cause.
I think you're absolutely right. All right, my technical directors, you have a choice. Pick one.
They're all
Any?
stupid. I'd say either the ammunition or Disney.
Okay, ammunition or Disney, so we got 1-1. All right. What about you, Mr. Brendan?
I'm gonna agree with 3. That's just ridiculous on a lot of levels.
It's horrible. George, what do you say?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay,
Let's
I
go
really
three.
did not like the young boy holding the sign that said F the NRA, because I thought it was horrible that his mother was right there. First of all, just to have that sign.
Yeah,
I
he was
think
right in
that's
the
good,
street holding up
actually.
the sign.
It shows the hypocrisy when they do that stuff.
It is good. It's
So
horrible.
I
on
like
their
that they
part,
do that.
but it is good for us. You're right. You can take that and turn it into a positive. And I have to say, you know what? I have to go with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, because she always makes me angry. So I just want to give her one. But that's a tough one. But I'm cool with Planned Parenthood being the winner of this week's Cocotazo Award. So there you go, Planned Parenthood. You deserve it.
But I have a good news about the NRA.
Yes, tell
And
us.
all this hysteria that's going on right now with after the mass shooting, the march and so on, they raised 3 times more
So they're
Yeah.
all-
private donations
Yes.
because people
Yes.
know that.
I signed up actually.
Woohoo!
Oh, you
Brandon.
did?
I did.
All right.
I'm one of those people.
Big kudos for them.
All right. Yeah, and one more thing quickly, if I can mention, the thing that's happening with Laura Ingram, and they're going after her because David Hogg, what is it, Rush Column Camera Hogg, and
I think that guy's
evidently,
an idiot.
and Laura Ingram tweeted something out, and she apologized for it. There were schools that he couldn't get into, and now he says, "Oh, you need to boycott all of her sponsors and
He's
everything."
an idiot. He's just. He's
No, we all
trying to-
know what that guy's deal is. He never got
Yeah.
talked to by any girls in his
Yeah.
whole life. And
Yeah.
he's like, hey, I can cash in
Yeah.
and be the hero for a change.
What a
Did
name.
you see the one with the guns where he's the meme where it says, I gave up my guns,
Oh
so
no, I
should
haven't
you?
seen that.
Because his arms are like really,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
yeah, it's
no.
pretty funny.
So I think he is appropriately called though by Rush Limbaugh.
And he wasn't even at the school during the shooting. He came to the school when he heard about the shooting. He was at home.
So man, it's been what a week. So thank you, Yasik, so much for coming in, Yasik. And I
Thank you
almost
for
got to
having me.
right.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure.
We'll put your information on our Facebook site. Everybody have a happy Easter. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Alice Lauda with George Ortiz. Thank you, Steve Palmer. Thank you, Brandon Jones. Thank you, Sonia Siegert. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. And walk on, man. The Chips and Salsa Show here every Saturday at 4 p.m.
And we are out.
Facebook, Claire.
Woo.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was my
for coming
pleasure.
in.
I
Did
li-
we get a picture